recording. Great, so that'll be available to send out after the webinar for anybody that wants to look at it, or if you want to share it with anyone else or people who didn't get to make it. There's going to be about 30 minutes of presentation, and then later we'll have 30 minutes of Q&A with all of our panelists and speakers. If questions do come up as I'm speaking or other speakers are presenting, you can put them into the Q&A box. It'll be a lot easier for us if all the questions are in the Q&A rather than the chat. And we have Seth, my colleague at the Business Council on Climate Change, who's going to be keeping track of those questions for you and then making sure they get asked and moderating our discussion after the presentation. So you can put those in and rest assured that you will get them answered. Cool, so I'll start off with our agenda. I will be our first speaker and I'll talk about SunShares, about why you might want to go solar and storage, how SunShares works exactly. Then we'll talk about other things you might want to consider when you're going solar. So we'll hear from Jeffrey Liang of the local organization Bay Ren about electrification and energy efficiency options. We'll hear from Annika Osborne of Drive Clean Bay Area about electric vehicles. And then we'll talk about your next steps if you're interested in signing up with SunShares and exploring your options with us. And then finally, we'll finish up with the Q&A with our selected installers from SunShares. And these are real experts in the field who can answer all of your questions about going solar and getting battery storage. So we have Colin Swan from Skytech Solar with us. We have Kyle Severns from Solar Technologies, and we have Curtis Hills representing Infinity Energy today. So I'll be here to answer your questions. So with that, I will get started introducing SunShares. And for anybody that just joined, I'll introduce myself as well. I'm Maggie Gallagher, and I'm the program coordinator for Bay Area SunShares. So Bay Area SunShares is a solar and storage discount program. Every year we pool the buying power of all 9 Bay Area counties in order to negotiate 15% discounts on solar installations and 10% discounts on battery storage. And these are options that are open to all Bay Area residents. And we're a nonprofit program, so we really do this with the goal of making clean energy more accessible and affordable, and to make the Bay Area more sustainable and resilient. And this is a limited time program. Registration opened on September 1st, and the last day to sign up to take advantage of these discounts is November 30th. So you have about 6 weeks left to learn more about us, take a look at your options with us, and sign up to take advantage of these discounts. And the Business Council on Climate Change is a nonprofit that runs Bay Area SunShares. We are a membership nonprofit, originally founded by the San Francisco Department of the Environment, but now we're a separate organization that's dedicated to incubating, scaling, and sharing climate solutions. And we do this in collaboration with our membership, who you can see here. It's a lot of major employers as well as municipal agencies in San Francisco. So I want to start off before we really get into the thick of the presentation and just ask what brought you here. And sorry, that should say today instead of tonight. But yeah, I'm just curious to know what interested you in learning more about SunShares, whether you just wanted something to do during your lunch hour, or you're really seriously considering getting solar and storage. You can just type that into the chat if you want, and that'll give us a great idea of what our audience is, what you all are interested in learning about. If you just want to pop into the chat, I'd love to see what brought you here. Cool, so Brian is seriously considering going solar or storage. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, other people are interested in battery storage, or just learning in general, renovating your home. Yeah, also really great. So many good reasons. Someone just got an EV. That's awesome. Cool, so thank you all so much for sharing, and I'm just going to keep going with the presentation, but feel free to keep sharing the chat. And yeah, really great to have you all here today, not tonight. So I'll start off by talking about why you might be interested in going solar and storage right now. And in particular, why now is such a good time to go solar. So one of the really big reasons is financial. If you go solar before the end of 2022, you'll be able to claim the 26% federal solar tax credit, which was supposed to end at the end of 2021, but was extended recently by the Biden administration because it's just that important to go solar and to get people to go solar on their homes. So you have until the end of 2022 to claim that, that tax credit, among other financial benefits of going solar. This is also a really critical time to take climate action and eliminate greenhouse gas emissions. And powering your home with clean energy and sending clean energy out onto the grid is a really great way to do that. Going solar is also a great way to support various jobs and businesses, especially as we recover from the economic effects of COVID-19. It's a really awesome thing to do in our community right now. And finally, in the Bay Area, obviously, we're all starting to feel the effects of climate change, right? Whether that's from droughts, some of us are getting our power shut off from wildfires. So generating energy in our communities close to where it's used makes the power system more resilient to those climate shocks and makes it work better for everybody. So that's a really great thing to contribute to as well by going solar. In addition, why might you want to consider adding storage to, adding storage to your solar system? One of the biggest reasons is home resilience. If you have just solar panels on your house and there's a power outage, you actually won't be able to get electricity running in your home. And that's why you need a battery to store the energy that you're generating and then discharge it back into your home when there is an outage. So a lot of people want to get batteries so they can keep the lights on or keep their fridge running during a power outage or a public safety power shutoff. Another really good reason to consider it is the additional savings you can get on your solar panels. With your battery, you can charge your battery during the times when energy is at its cheapest. And then you can discharge the energy that you've generated with your solar panels back onto the grid when energy is at its most expensive. So that way you can offset more of your electricity bill with your solar energy. And then finally, batteries really support renewable energy, right? They make it so that we can use solar energy even when the sun isn't shining, or wind energy even when the wind isn't blowing, and make it a true 24/7 power source that can help us build a more sustainable future that we'd all like to live in. And in particular, why should you, or maybe should you be considering going solar with SunShares? And there's a few things that we offer that really differentiate our program from just going solar by yourself or going directly with an installer. So first of all, we've done a lot of research and a really rigorous evaluation process to select the 3 installers that we have here today. So they're pre-vetted, you know that they have really quality customer service and product offerings, and they'll be working with you to make the best decision for you. Additionally, like I mentioned, we offer significant discounts. So we offer a 15% discount on the turnkey cost of installing solar. So that means the whole installed cost, including equipment, labor, permitting, that's all included in our discounted price. And we also offer a 10% discount on battery storage in addition. And finally, since we have selected these 3 installers, that means you can compare up to 3 different solar proposals and make your decision with a number of options in mind. And you can see these 3 proposals without having to make any commitment or put any money down. So you have basically a free way to educate yourself about how this could work for you, even if you're not positive that you want to go through with it, or you're just starting the process of exploring your options. There's a really great way to learn with no pressure involved. And finally, we're really experienced. Since 2016, in the last 5 years, we've helped over 900 homes install solar. We've installed over 100 battery units. So we really do know what we're doing, and we can help you out with your whatever your situation is. And so now I will talk a little bit about how SunShares works and what it might be like if you decide to explore your options with us. So your options at SunShares, you may, like I was saying before, some of you may know exactly what you're interested in. Some people are just kind of starting this process, and it's great to know that we really support you no matter what point you're at or what your interests are. With SunShares, you can go solar. You can get solar panels on your roof and start generating clean energy, selling it back to the grid, and using it in your home. Or with SunShares, you can also get solar panels and battery storage at the same time. So that way you can be generating your own clean energy and then also storing it in a battery and get those resilience benefits that I mentioned, and have power when there's a power outage. And finally, your other option, SunShares, is if you're somebody that already has solar panels on your roof, and you want those resilience benefits, with SunShares, you can add batteries to an existing solar system. And a lot of people are doing that have had solar for years. And now that batteries have become cheaper and there's more options out there, are starting to want to add batteries to those existing systems. So those are all things that we can support, and we're very happy to work with you on. And any one of our 3 installers can help you out with those. Like I said, we have Infinity Energy, Skytech Solar, and Solar Technologies as our selected installers for 2021. So if you do go solar with SunShares, the process really starts when you sign up. And when you sign up, you're going to select which of those 3 installers you want to hear from and that you want to contact you to start generating your solar proposal. And so they'll contact you within a week. And they'll contact you in order to start evaluating your roof and, like I said, designing your proposal. And they'll do that by evaluating your roof virtually. And in some cases, though not all, they may do a site visit in order to make sure that things are lining up with their expectations. And then at that point, they will pass those proposals on to you, and it'll be your turn to review them, see if any of the ones that you have received seem favorable to you and you want to sign a contract. And again, there's absolutely no commitment involved. But if you do want to sign a contract and go through one of those proposals, if it looks like something that will work for you in your home, you have until December 31st to sign that contract and get the 15% SunShares discount. And then generally with going solar, it takes about 4 to 6 months from the time of signing your contract to actually getting your installation done. So you should have your install done by spring of 2022 if you sign a contract with SunShares this fall. So when you do get those proposals from your installers to generate them, they will basically evaluate a few things about your home and your situation. So first of all, they'll look at your roof's exposure to sunlight. That's pretty much the most important thing. Do you have sunshine on your roof? How much and where? And they'll use that to make sure solar is actually viable for your home. And then if it is, to design it to maximize how much energy you can generate using the sun that you do get. And then they'll look at your roof type, so what your roof is made of. They'll look at the angle of your roof, and they'll also look at your roof's condition. This is something that comes up a lot in solar installations because roofs do have a lifetime, and you don't really want to install solar on a roof that is a year or 2 away from needing to be replaced. So if you do need repairs or a replacement on your roof, our installers will check that out for you. And if you do, they'll help you find a contractor. You can actually do that all as one process of replacing your roof and then getting your solar installed on it. And then they'll also talk to you about your energy usage, and that will dictate the size of the system. So how much electricity you generate to offset that electrical bill. And then finally, if you're interested in battery storage, they'll look at your essential loads. So that's basically what you want that battery to be able to power in your home in the case of an outage. And speaking of batteries, there are a growing number of options out there in the market, even more than 2 years ago. And so I think it's really good to be able to understand how to differentiate between different models. This is a little bit technical, so it's okay if it's not like super clear to you. And that's why you have your installers and the consultants that you'll work with these installers to help you identify what options are best for you. But it is good to know and be informed about because there are more options than there used to be. So one really good metric to look at is the maximum usable capacity of the battery. And that's the total amount of electricity that your battery can actually store. And that it basically translates to how long that battery can power your home in the case of an outage. Another really good thing to look at is the power rating of the battery. So that is how much electricity that can be discharged at any one time. And a good way to think about it is, for example, if you want to be able to power multiple refrigerators and a piece of medical equipment all at the same time during an outage, you'll want a higher power rating than if you just want to be able to keep a few lights on and maybe charge your phone. And then finally, another really good metric to look at is the round trip efficiency of your battery. In any electrical transfer, there can be energy that's lost, but that percentage does vary. So that's another good metric to look at with your battery. And again, this is just really good stuff to talk to your installer about and understand which of these is the most important and that you might want to make your decision based on. And finally, I think also with batteries, it's really good to have realistic expectations about the current timeline for them. A lot of people, just like us, are very interested in making their homes more resilient right now. And batteries, like many other commodities, are affected by the supply chain issues that are resulting from COVID slowdowns and just the general messiness in the supply chain right now. So that just means that there is a longer timeline for batteries than usual right now. And that timeline does vary based on the model that you choose. Different manufacturers have different constraints. So just talk to your installer about your different options and being open-minded to like different models you may not have considered. And then it's also really good to know that our installers have been dealing with these shortages for at least a year now. And so they have a really good system in place where in many cases, your solar system can be installed and actually producing energy and totally set up even before your battery arrives. And they can do all the electrical work in advance so that when that battery does arrive, they can just install it and you're ready to go. And again, the main point here is just to ask your installers about your options and not be discouraged by this because it's not that you can't get them, it's just that it takes a little bit longer because of supply chain constraints. So I think it's just good to have realistic expectations. So now I'll just turn to a few additional clean energy options that we have in the Bay Area that are really exciting to take advantage of right now, especially if you're thinking about going solar. So when you're going solar, your installer will ask you about not just how much energy you use right now, but actually help you consider what your future energy needs might be. So this can be both if you're going to be improving your home's energy efficiency by, for example, adding insulation and reducing your energy usage, or if you're going to be switching from gas to electric appliances, for example, switching from a gas water heater to an electric heat pump water heater and increasing your electric load. And both of those things are really important to take into account when you're designing your solar system. And especially right now in the Bay Area, there's a big push towards decarbonizing our buildings by electrifying our appliances. So many of us will be very soon adding to our electric loads and electrifying more of our appliances. And we're very lucky in the Bay Area that we have some really great programs that make this not only easier, but actually cheaper, similarly to how SunShares does with solar. And we're gonna have a few guests share about those opportunities right now. So we'll first have Jeffrey Liang from BayREN talk about BayREN's energy efficiency and also electrification, rebates, and education programs. And then we'll also have Annika Osborne of Drive Clean Bay Area talk about opportunities around electric vehicles, both just educational options that they offer, as well as their seasonal discount campaigns. And these are also just made so much easier when you go solar and really great to consider if you're thinking about that. So I'll pass it off to Jeffrey now, and you can just let me know when to go to the next slide.
Okay, thank you. Yes, my name is Jeffrey Liang. I manage the BayREN single family program. And before I get started here, I just want to reiterate what Maggie was saying. This is, as you are considering solar and storage, this is a really good time to figure out what loads you have currently that are on gas versus electric, and what you may want to put on electric so that you're not undersizing or oversizing your solar. So this is really timely. So BayREN is the Bay Area Regional Energy Network. We are a collaboration of those 9 Bay Area counties that you see on the screen right now. And so we receive funds from the California Public Utilities Commission to run these energy efficiency programs. In fact, we run a couple, for multifamily, commercial. I run the single family program, which gives rebates for people to make energy efficiency and electrification upgrades to their home. And each home is eligible for up to $5,000 in rebates from us, but we also leverage other rebates from city and county sources, as well as state sources. So I'll touch upon all of those as we go. Next, please. So BayREN Home Plus, as I mentioned, is $5,000 in rebates for energy efficiency. and I should say, and electrification, because we just added that fairly recently. But especially as you're thinking about, how, and especially as winter's coming, you want to start thinking about how to kind of reduce the amount of energy that you need. So what we see is that because of things like leaks in our drafts and leaks in our homes and missing insulation, we often spend a lot more on both heating and cooling, for those of you in cooling climates. Missing insulation is probably one of the big reasons why people feel hot during the summer, because that insulation not just keeps the heat in during the winter, but it also keeps it out during the summer. Because if you ever go up to your attic during a summer day, it can be a lot hotter than the rest of the house. And so those are the things that we want to help first, try to reduce that amount that we're wasting. And then, so insulation, weatherization. And then once we do that, make the furnace and the water heater more and more efficient. As Maggie mentioned, there's this push for electrification. So you can now switch those furnaces and water heaters to run on electric. A really efficient electric. There's a technology called heat pumps that can essentially move heat from one place to another. And so it's actually, since it's not generating that heat, it's 300% efficient. And so if you think about it that way, you can, people often talk about solar water heaters, but you're essentially, taking the electricity that you're getting from your solar system and then using that to power your water heater. So as you're thinking about the solar, that's one way to essentially power your water heating from your solar. So with all these upgrades, we have trained and vetted participating contractors that can do the work. We vet them, we make sure that we do the QA QC on them, and then if they don't, if they're not doing good work, we can kick them out. And then the nice thing is they also do the rebate submissions for you. So the up to 5,000, you don't have to fill out any forms. They will fill it out for you. But we do know that it can be a little difficult to figure out, where do you start? Do you attack the installation first? Do you change out that water heater? We have this home energy advisor program who is there to help you any step of the way. So they can be there to answer general questions about your home and say, it's really hot in the summer and the AC or furnace keeps kicking on and off every 5 minutes. They can help start to figure that out for you. And they can, once you decide you want to move forward, they can help you find contractors in your area. Because obviously sometimes it's hard to figure out who do you trust. And then they can even review your bids for you. So the energy advisors are free service that will help you all the way along the way. And then they will refer you to other complementary programs. So we definitely refer people to SunShares who are looking for solar, because we don't incentivize solar. But there's other programs that can help you find additional rebates for heat pump water heaters. In addition to ours, there's state and county rebates. Or maybe you're just looking for someone to help you figure out, just essentially get a miles per gallon for your home. They can direct you to that. So that's our number there, 866-878-6008. And our website, where you can also go there to ask for an energy advisor. Next.
Thanks, Annika.
Oh, okay, that's it.
Well, thank you so much. And now I'll pass it off to Annika from Driving Bay Area.
Thank you so much, Maggie. So my name is Annika Osborne, and I'm with Cool the Earth, an environmental nonprofit with a mission to reduce carbon emissions and air pollution. With the climate crisis looming, we can agree that it's important to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels. And since transportation is the biggest contributor to our individual carbon footprint, we need to get out of our gas cars and focus on clean transportation options. So I want to thank Maggie and the SunShares team for inviting me to talk about making the switch to driving electric. When you drive electric, there's nothing better than plugging into clean solar energy from your own roof. We installed solar panels last year and charged 2 EVs, and our energy bills have reduced dramatically since we got solar. So we're super happy with this. Next. So there are many benefits to driving electric. Remember those blue skies and the clean air last year when we stopped driving? Our passenger vehicles are the single largest source of emissions, representing up to 50% of our individual carbon footprint. So we can have a really big impact on the earth by decreasing carbon emissions and air pollution when we do switch to driving electric. And when you make the switch, there's no compromise. There's an EV for every lifestyle and budget. And when you drive electric, you'll save time, money, and enjoy the ride just a little bit more. So we hear that cost is one of the biggest barriers to driving electric, but driving electric can actually be less expensive than driving a gas car. So some of the reasons for the low cost of driving electric are that during the past 5 to 10 years, EV battery prices have dropped dramatically, and we're continuing to see that. There are government incentives for up to $10,250 in the Bay Area for most vehicles, new vehicles. Filling your tank with gasoline can be 4 to 5 times more expensive than charging with clean electricity. And there's no scheduled maintenance for EVs. So the average EV driver pays 40% less of what other drivers pay in maintenance. It's basically the windshield washer fluid and the tires. And twice a year, Drive Clean Bay Area partners with Cartelligent, a car concierge service, for EV discounts. Next. So let's take a quick look at the incentives available for new EVs. You can save up to $10,250 with rebates and tax credits for a fully electric car, and about half of that amount for a plug-in hybrid. And while the incentives listed on this page are for new cars only, some income qualifying rebates and grants are available for new and used cars. So there's the $750 California Clean Fuels Reward, which is comes from our utilities, and that is given to you at the point of sale. Then there's the $2,000 California Clean Vehicle Standard Rebate for $2,000 that you apply for after you get your car. And then there's the federal tax credit. So for an EV or plug-in hybrid, there's up to $7,500 on your tax liability, and you do this when you file your taxes. It is not currently available for a Chevy or Tesla, but they're in talks right now. This is, attached to the infrastructure bill. So hopefully that will change, and we might even get additional funding. Fingers crossed there. And for home charging, the home charging rebate is available for charging of all EVs and PHEVs for up to $1,000 of the cost of the hardware and the install. And then once you get your EV, there's the clean air vehicle decal. So you can be a single passenger in the HOV lane. And this can really save great on time. And there are some great savings calculators, so you can see exactly which rebates you qualify for. I'll put these in the chat after I finish my presentation. I have one more slide. So Cool the Earth's program, Drive Clean Bay Area, is ready to help you go electric. So we offer weekly Zoom webinars, EV 101 for EV basics and EV 102 to help new drivers transition smoothly, both with Q&A. We have a robust website highlighting available and coming EVs, a how-to EV section, including steps to driving electric, and buying and driving guides. And we host EV car shows so consumers can check out new and some of the most popular EVs out there and talk to EV owners about driving electric. And we have lots of partners who put these on throughout the Bay Area. We had a couple this summer, and I guess throughout this, we had 2 here up in Marin County where we're located over the summer. We had 750 people attend our first one and over 300 people at our second one, with like 25 EV volunteers there talking to people. Really, really great. And we have lots of partners who do the same thing throughout the Bay Area. So we hope that you'll sign up with Drive Clean Bay Area so that you can take part in our program so we can help you go electric. I'll drop a few links in the chat so you can connect with us, and feel free to ask any questions in the Q&A. Thanks again to Maggie and the SunShares program team for your partnership.
Oh yeah, thank you so much, Annika. And Yeah, like both Jeffrey and Annika said, these are really great opportunities to take advantage of, or just be exploring as you're considering going solar as well. So another just important thing to know is if you can't go solar for whatever reason, whether you're a renter or your home is not suitable for solar, if you get too much shade or something like that, you can still power your home with 100% renewable energy. We're very lucky in the Bay Area to have a lot of different options for this. So of course, most of us, or almost all of us except Alameda, I believe, are covered by PG&E. And then also we have community choice aggregations. And you can see on this map that pretty much the whole Bay Area is covered by one CCA or another. And community choice aggregations are basically local municipal organizations that purchase power for their residents in order to provide an alternative to investor-owned utilities. And because we're in the Bay Area, all of our CCAs are very focused on providing a higher percentage of renewable energy and clean energy than PG&E is. So these both PG&E and CCAs offer the option to choose a higher amount of clean energy than the base offering for just a few extra dollars a month. And it's really easy to do. All you have to do is go to your CCA's website or PG&E's website and just enter your account number and sign up. And you'll basically just start receiving that more renewable energy. And this is also something that we offer guidance with through SunShares. So you can sign up at bayareasunshares.org, just like for our solar offering, if you want more information about this. And just want to add that you don't only have to do this if you can't go solar. It also is great to do if you are going solar, and that means that whether you're getting power from your solar panels or from the grid, it's always going to be 100% renewable energy. So that's a really great thing to do that you can learn more about on our website. So some next steps, if you do want to start exploring your options with us. Number one is just to sign up at our website. It's really great to get started as soon as you can, and you have until November 30th to sign up and start the process of receiving your solar proposal. In the meantime, as you're communicating with their installers, waiting to get your proposal, I really recommend exploring your options on our website. We have not just more information about our program, but also our exact product offerings in terms of panels and actual models of batteries, as well as the prices listed on our website. So you can check that out yourself and use that to help you make your decision. And then, of course, you have until December 31st when you do receive your proposals to decide whether or not you want to sign a contract with SunShares. And then again, typically installations take about 6 months or 4 to 6 months, so it'll be completed by spring 2022. And if you do go to our website to sign up, you will see that big sign up button right there on our homepage. If you click it, you'll be asked to enter some contact information so that our installers can reach out to you and start the process of getting you a proposal, as well as you'll also be asked which product offering you're interested in. So whether that's solar, solar and battery storage, or just battery storage. And also you'll be asked to indicate which installers you want to hear from. And with that, and again, you can sign up to hear from all three or just two or one, whatever you want. And with that, I think we're going to hand it off to our installers and Seth for that Q&A. So I'll stop sharing my screen so you can see everybody. But yeah, I know there's already a lot of questions in the chat and the Q&A. Feel free to keep adding them in as the conversation goes, but I'll hand it over to you, Seth, to moderate it.
Awesome. So we've already had lots of great questions coming in. I'll do my best to get to all of them. And Maggie, if you see any come in that we don't hit, will you let me know and we can, yeah. And so, I think to start, there was a basic question on how the program works and like the timing, Maggie, that would be worth asking you. One of the questions is, if I'm not ready to start before November 30th, will SunShares cease to exist after the date? And also, what criteria did you use to choose the vendors? Those are two questions that came up for you.
Yeah, so the answer to the first question is no, we won't cease to exist. We do this annually, so we'll offer discounts again next year in the same time period. I would also say that it could be worth starting to explore your options now anyways. Like if you're doing a renovation to your home, for example, it can still be worth reaching out to installers and talking about designing a solar system as you're in the process of designing a home or whatever it may be. And I don't know the exact situation, so maybe that doesn't make sense for you. But yeah, so SunShares will continue again into the future. And then the second question was about the criteria that we use to choose our installers. So there are a lot, but in general, they go into the buckets of customer service and quality of the products that they offer, and also obviously the prices that they offer us. So we make sure that they serve the entire Bay Area, so all 9 counties. We ask for references that we can talk to who have worked with them in the past. We also look at their, so the product offerings. We have them offer a number of different panels and batteries, and we compare the prices to averages and past prices to make sure that it's a good discounted price. But yeah, those are the general qualities that we look for.
Awesome. Thanks for answering those. And now let's go to the installers. A question that is coming up, which I think folks, often in front of mind as they're installing solar, is what is this likely to cost me? Like, what's a rough cost estimate, or how do I approach that? And yeah, I guess that's it. What is the upfront cost, or what should I expect? And maybe we can just go through everyone, and we'll start with Colin, and then go through all the installers from there. If anyone has anything to add.
Yeah, so the cost will depend on, we have 3 different offerings. Our quickest return on investment is the all-black Q-cell 380 watt panel. And that comes in, depending on the size of the system. We also do it by a slide and scale, anywhere from 335 down to 297 per watt. We also offer, secondly, another product called Solaria. It's a beautiful product, all black. It's I think it looks one of the nicest panels on the market, and if not the nicest. And that's kind of our mid-range pricing. The return on investment takes a slight bit longer. And then finally, we have an LG panel, and the LG is the best performing panel. And that again is slightly more expensive again. So it really depends when you're talking with one of our solar consultants, is to talk to them about what you need. Does the look of the panels mean anything to you? Are you going to see it from the street? What sort of how long does it take before you start seeing a return on your investment? Questions like that. Within the Bay Area, we're seeing usually between a 5 and a 6 kilowatt system is about the size of the system, and then you multiply that out by the price per watt. So let's say if it was 297 and you had a 5 kilowatt system, you're probably looking at close to $15,000. So it all depends on your needs.
Right on. Kyle, do you have anything to add there?
No, it's similar for us. We just have different product offerings. So it really depends on the size of your bill, how much solar you want to add. On the low end, you might be around $9,000-$10,000. With a tax credit as well. Sky's the limit as far as how big your home is and how much energy you use. So yeah, it just varies. And I see that Maggie put the link to all 3 contractors' products and pricing to help with that as well.
Gotcha. Curtis, anything to add on top of that?
No, I'd say they covered it pretty good.
Yeah, great. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Yeah, and I think, sort of an addendum to this that's coming up, and maybe Curtis, we can start with you, is just questions around financing options. Do you have financing options available? And also, you give us a little bit of the pros and cons, and then if anyone else wants to add anything, we'll go from there.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Everything is out there, right? So, we have people that either have cash on hand, they want to go to their bank, get local financing. We have low rate, short-term, low origination costs. Then we have, the whole gamut, right? You can take it out 20, 25 years. You're going to have higher origination, but that's going to increase your sales price, increase your tax credit. So it depends. Are you looking at like short-term payback, lowest overall cost, lowest monthly payment? Kind of just sit down with you as a customer and figure out what's your specific situation. How long do you want to live in the house? How much are you currently paying, and what are you trying to benefit the most from it? And then tailoring that to you.
That makes sense. Yeah, Colin, do you have anything to add around financing, or Kyle?
No, I think Curtis kind of covered it. A lot of that. We at SkyTech, we recommend people go to their own bank, because that'll be the cheapest way to actually finance this if they don't have the cash in the bank themselves and get a loan from their own bank. If they can't use them, then there's other banks that'll give them a straight loan, and we have a couple of good credit unions with very low rates that they can go to.
Awesome, thanks. Kyle, anything? Great, wonderful. Yeah, so it sounds like we covered it. Yeah, and I saw a question coming in as well. So, you know, where do these, would we own the panels, and also who services them is sort of the next piece of this. So maybe Kyle, can you start to cover some of that?
Yeah, sure. In a cash purchase, financing arrangement, you would own the panels, you know, just like anything else that you would buy. You'd have warranties for them, but ultimately it's your system. You know, you're responsible for letting the contractor know if there's any, issue. With lease arrangements, the PPA or lease company would technically own the panels and would have a responsibility to service. But of course, then there's, a higher cost in financing fees, that sort of stuff that goes along with it. So really, it depends how you finance, and those are all details that all three of the contractors here can, find the right fit for you and go through the details in a consultation.
Right on. Anything to add, Curtis, Colin? Is that about cover it?
No, I think Kyle covered it all.
Awesome. Yeah, it's going to depend on your situation and how you approach it, it sounds like, and each of our installers can guide you through how that works after you sign up for quotes. So we have a bunch of questions around roofing that came up. So maybe we'll do a little roofing segment now. I think there's a few folks on here who are talking about needing a new roof. And do you work with roofers? And also, if I needed to install a new roof before getting panels installed, does the 26% tax credit applied there, or any of the 15% SunShares discount apply to roofing costs? And then there's also a question about having a composite metal roof, and if that's possible. Curtis, can we start with you on some of those? And I'm glad to repeat. I realize that was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot for sure. No worries. We do storage, we do solar, we do roofing. So we absolutely, in many of those cases can handle, like if we come out and it doesn't need a new roof, then we'll put together a bid, from our own roofing company, and then they can take it out. I think in situations, it's just like solar, they're going to have multiple bids that they're going to look at and decide, kind of what situation is going to work for them. A lot of times getting it done through one company. I would say tax wise, that's something that we'd always advise somebody to go to their own tax advisor, their accountant, their rep, and find out, if those are costs that they can have included. But I would highly recommend that they do that, because in many cases, that's something that they could have done. I don't know which the financing can be included. I don't know. I didn't catch what else. There was a lot there.
I think the last sort of piece of that question was around if the federal tax credit can be applied in any way towards like new roofing installations. And then the very last part was, if I have a composite metal roof, can I get solar panels installed on it?
I think I answered the tax one, and then the comp one.
Right.
It depends, like if it's like what type of metal roof it is, like if it's corrugated metal, standing seam, if it's like a cow pack type. In all of those, we have the ability to install on them. It's pretty similar costs as far as additional beyond just standard solar, because those are different types of roofs. But we would give that to them in the quote, ahead of time.
Okay. Appreciate it. Colin and Kyle, anything to add around roofs? And okay, seems like we covered it. Thanks, Curtis. That was we covered a lot. Oh, Kyle, do you have something?
Yeah. Just briefly, when it comes to roofing, we have a lot of roofers that we work with for specialty type roofs. So if you have a flat roof, foam, membrane, CalPack, which Curtis mentioned, which I think is probably what the question was about. They call them stone coated metal roofs. They can either look like comp shingle, or they can look like curved concrete tile, but they're actually a metal metal roof, we can work with those as well. And there's just different adders depending on the roof type and the difficulty to work on it. And I think that's similar for all three contractors.
Gotcha. Yeah. Right. You all are adaptable and you've seen lots of different situations that you can work with. And, also working off of sort of that question of where the panels can be installed, there was a question about, is it possible to put the panels somewhere that's not on the roof? Are there options like that? Yeah, that you all could do installations that aren't on the roof, say on a shed or on the ground? Yeah, Colin is, or Kyle, yeah.
Yeah, I can jump in. So as far as structures, the only requirement is that the structure is permitted. And even in addition to that, there might be times when additional structural calcs are needed to ensure that it can hold the weight of the solar installation. So, at times those run into issues because they aren't permitted or just there might be additional upgrades needed to the structure in order to put solar on it, depending on your jurisdiction. Outside of that, there's ground mounted solar systems. So if you have the space and, an accessible, piece of land that, we can trench back to your main electrical service, that's an option as well. Although, I will say roof is definitely preferable, as it just costs less to get a roof installation in almost all cases. Ground mounts can be pricey. They just they take more work and a lot of digging to get done.
Makes sense. Okay, great. Yeah, I think so. It sounds like the options are flexible, but roofing, if it's possible, is the best option. And after that, permitted structures are something worth looking at. If it's not permitted, that may end up being a struggle or something you have to talk with individually with the contractors about. So, and then there's a couple folks who had questions around, they have pre-existing systems. Some say that they own, others are folks who have leased a pre-existing system and they're interested in either adding additional capacity or adding battery storage to that. Is that something that's possible through this program and that you all can do? Yeah, Colin.
Yeah, that's very, very possible. We can easily just add on a battery if you wanted us to. The only thing we need to know is, how many panels do you have? What type of panels are they? And what sort of inverter is it, so that we can come up with the best battery solution for you? As far as if you own a system and adding panels to it, it's not a problem at all. If you're leasing a system and adding the panels to it, that can be accomplished, but we'd have to take a look at what your agreement is with the leasing company. But I think it should be fine.
Got it. Makes sense. Kyle or Curtis, anything to add there?
He nailed it.
Great. Well, y'all are awesome. Yeah, and then I saw a question coming in. Maybe Curtis, you can give us a rundown on maintenance issues that you should expect with solar and storage, and how long panels can be expected to last. And maybe even talking warranty in there too would be helpful, and we can go around.
Sure. Yeah. Maintenance, I mean, it's, there's no really moving parts. So for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. It depends on the product. Most of them are IEC rated, to last at least 40 years as far as the panels go. I think having looked at the offerings that I've seen, it looks like everybody has pretty solid, like 25-year manufacturer warranties at the least, from everybody. So they don't have to worry about parts. All the companies provide the warranties to come out and replace it if it goes bad. The difference is, the difference in this is just making sure that as a customer, you check in and, and keep an eye on your production, or if anything's going wrong, so that you can let the contractor know so they can come out and take care of it. But whether you lease, purchase any of those things, I mean, there shouldn't be a scenario where you're coming out of pocket over the next 20, 25 years to pay for anything to be done. It should all be handled through your solar provider.
Awesome. Yeah, Colin, anything to add?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. Yeah.
Kyle, same. Right on. Cool. Yeah, and then I guess also related. Do y'all know, is a solar panel system covered by home insurance? Is that something that you all have encountered? I'm seeing nods.
it should, like, you know, you're gonna have it just like your car, right? I mean, you're gonna have your warranty plan on it, but if a tree branch falls on your car, you know, that needs to be covered by insurance, right? It's a similar thing for solar. Like, I mean, not many people are gonna have damage physically happen to it, but if something happened to the house or the solar system that was kind of outside, that would be covered by your homeowner's insurance. Typically your coverages are already high enough to cover it. It shouldn't raise your deductibles or anything, but you know, the difference between warranty and insurance, right? Be like if something happens to it, your homeowner's insurance will step in there.
Totally.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing, is just to double check that your coverage, you know, is high enough. I mean, we've now seen, unfortunately, some wildfires knock out you know, homes and therefore solar systems that we've installed, and so that's probably the most likely case in which you know, be calling on your home insurance to replace your PV system. So just, and it's a good rule of thumb just for anybody, make sure their insurance is high enough to cover that stuff.
Yeah, so that's sort of the home insurance 101 on if you have a solar system, making sure that you're fully covered with it, and talking with your insurance company about that. Great. So we're getting into some more particular questions. Actually, maybe before we get there, there's a question about the area of coverage that you all can install in. And in particular, there's a folk who has a unit out closer to Yosemite. Is that a place that any of your organizations would do an installation? I'm seeing Curtis nodding.
We would potentially have a travel ladder, but yeah, we could quote it for sure.
Got it.
Where'd you say it was at?
Around Yosemite.
Yosemite. Yeah, we could definitely look into it and quote it.
Yeah, sounds like it would be worth signing up for the quote and figuring it out from there if you're interested. Great. And then a quick, let's see. Oh, there's some questions around if y'all, I guess some general finance questions, and one of the questions that came up is, do you know, are there restrictions on discounts and rebates if the place where you're installing the panels and storage is a rental? Yeah, and as far as the tax credit goes, I don't know. So
yeah, so it's there is no restrictions if you're the owner of the home and you install it. You can in fact be able to still get the 27% federal tax credit, and you'd be able to depreciate the system itself over the years. You can talk to your accountant about how much you can depreciate per year. So yeah, it's actually pretty good if you're a landlord. Now, if you're a tenant, you'd have to actually, in the question, did they mention if they're a landlord or a tenant?
I believe my understanding is that they're the landlord, not the tenant. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so therefore, yeah, in fact, you know, they actually get a bigger benefit because of the fact they can depreciate it on top of getting the 26% federal tax credit.
Oh, interesting. So that's good. That's good that there's more incentives for landlords to install solar on their homes. That's good. That's great. Let's see what, and then do you all know, is there any change in net metering coming down the pipeline from PG&E? Someone was a little concerned about that in the Q&A. Kyle, I see you nodding.
Yeah, there is. The CPUC is currently in the process of, you know, the Public Utilities Commission for California is in the process of deciding what adjustments will be made to net energy metering. We don't fully know what those are going to be yet. So, you know, apologize that we can't, you know, give more information. We wish we had it. You know, I think the important thing to remember, you know, when it comes to stuff like this in California is it's a very progressive state. You know, the CPUC is made up of folks that were appointed by Jerry Brown or Governor Newsom. So largely, you know, while it will probably make some adjustments that are, you know, not as good as the original net energy metering, we don't expect it to be anything that will cause solar not to be a very positive financial gain for anyone that goes solar. So, but those details will start to show up in an initial ruling, I believe, in December, and then a final ruling in January. And on top of that, there's likely to be, you know, some sort of, you know, implementation period where folks that start this process now will likely still get the net energy metering rate structures that are current. But those details and how big that implementation period will be won't really be seen until the ruling comes out.
Got it. Yeah, thank you for the update on all of that. I think yeah, it's probably just important, like you said, keep in mind that California, being the progressive state that it is, solar is not going to suddenly become unviable financially. It's gonna remain something that's worth doing. And the other piece of it, right, is that 2022, as things stand right now, is the last year at which the federal tax credit is at 26%, and then it gets stepped down after that. So if you're thinking about going solar, but sort of on the fence, better to sign up for SunShares and get your quotes now and consider going solar in 2022 than wait an additional year and kind of lose some of the benefits over time. So that all makes sense. And then can you all speak to, so what would be a typical time frame for you for folks who are interested in solar and a battery system? What are people looking at? And maybe we could start with Curtis and just go around if it's different for each of you.
It really depends on I mean, we cover the whole state, so I mean, it kind of depends on where they're at. Bay Area, and if they're doing solar only, it's depending on how fast we can get permitting. I mean, I'm still seeing stuff get booked out install wise into most recent was starting to get into late November. So, I mean, we still have the ability to get things done. I would say typically on solar, we're running like 40 to 45 days from beginning to end. When you add a battery in or in main panel upgrades in there, then you start adding a few weeks to the process. But easily, like anybody that's signing up for this now, I would think with any of us should be able to rest assured that they're in by first quarter, which I think as Kyle led, should have them in before and worrying about being on the new net metering.
Awesome. Colin or Kyle, anything to add to that?
No, nothing. That is, we're roughly about the same. There is just for people to be aware, there is sometimes a backlog of batteries right now with the supply chain, but the solar is absolutely no problem at all. But just be aware there could be delays with the battery.
Makes sense, right? So there's some supply chain delays with batteries at the moment.
Yeah, and I guess we're the slow kids on the block. But yeah, we have about a 5 to 6 month backlog at the moment. But like we like to say, worth the wait. So, but yeah, it's about our lead time at the moment.
Yeah, and so thanks for all that. And then also just looking at the time, I'm realizing that we're hitting sort of that hour mark. There was a question that I'm seeing in the chat. Should I get quotes from all three installers? In my opinion, yes, because it costs you nothing and you get to compare and get sort of apples to apples comparisons and quotes. And
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. I'm passing you back over to Maggie.
Yeah, thanks, Seth. I think that's a great question to end with. Like I think you've probably seen, these are all three really great options. You will find, especially as you start working with them and getting proposals, that they do have differences. It's not like one's worse or one's better, but they're just different products and sort of different focuses and strategies. And depending on what you want or what your exact situation is, one may work better for you. So recommend going with all three. And yeah, I will just put that link back in the chat one more time so that you guys can sign up. And thank you all for coming. And this is really a great group with like really good questions. And I can see that we didn't quite get to all of them. So again, recommend that you sign up and talk directly to our installers and they can answer all these questions too. And thanks again to Annika and Jeffrey. That was really great to have you talk. And I highly recommend that you check out their programs. I'll be sharing some links to their sites and the things they mentioned when I follow up on this email, as well as a recording of the event and the slides. So thanks so much, everyone. Really great to have you and have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thanks, Maggie.